In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact framework that I used that took my business from zero to over 5 figures a month consistently without me having to change anything about my offer or my service or my price. If you're posting, you're writing, you're showing up, you're putting in the reps, you're being very consistent, but nothing is working, then this video is for you. I put out over 300 pieces of content. I changed my strategy, I changed my tone, I tried finding the best hooks to try to get people engaged. Nothing worked until I did this one thing. The moment I understood how to talk to my clients, everything shifted. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a 7-step framework adapted from Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, which by the way, you should definitely read if you haven't, that will help you figure out exactly who you're talking to, what they care about, and how to talk to them in a way that actually sticks. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be using a free template that I created and it's going to be available in the description below. And if you haven't watched my video on how to build an offer, make sure to check it out because this builds directly on it. Before we get into the framework, there are a few things that I want to get out of the way. Every business, no matter what it sells, product or service, is made up of two parts. There's a provider and there's a buyer. You're the provider and your customer is the buyer. And it doesn't matter if you're selling a $5 adapter or a $50,000 consulting package. Every single product exists to take someone from point A to point B, from problem to solution, from frustration to relief. And that is the whole purpose of business. When someone's buying a car, definitely they can look at if the car looks nice and whatnot, but they're technically buying freedom, their independence, and the ability to move around as they wish. So the car just happens to be the thing that takes them there. Quite literally. So here are the 2 mistakes that prevents people from actually selling. They talk too much about themselves. Features and benefits are not what your customer cares about. It's definitely important, but it's not the first thing that they're going to be looking at. Your goal shouldn't be to convince people that you're great. They're not looking for a hero. They're looking for someone to guide them. They want someone who understands where they're currently at and where they're trying to go and how to get them there. They talk to everyone. You're doing the work consistently, but there's no impact. You're talking to everyone and in the process, talking to no one. Your business isn't a megaphone, it's a story. And just like every other story, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. A character, a problem, and a resolution. Your message is that middle part. It's the bridge that takes your customer from where they currently are to where they're trying to go. And keep in mind that all of this is happening before they've even touched your product. Now that this is out of the way, let's get into it. Every story starts with a main character. In your business, the main character, the hero, is your customer because they're the ones trying to go somewhere. So naturally, the first question is, what do they want? Let's use the car example again. Someone buying a car doesn't actually want a piece of metal on 4 wheels. They want what the car gives them: status, freedom, independence, ability to go anywhere they want. The list goes on and on. Your job as the business owner is to define that very clearly. If you can't explain what your customer wants in one sentence, your message is not gonna stick. So here's how to think about it. Describe who they are. What's their situation right now? Name what they want. What outcome are they chasing? Clarify what's in the way. What's stopping them from getting it? Once you've defined that, you're speaking to one specific person. And when people hear themselves in a story, they actually stop to listen. Next, you have the problem, aka the villain. Every story has a villain to create the tension that then moves the story forward. In your business, the villain is the problem that your customer is facing. And that problem can be broken down into 3 different layers. The first layer is the external problem. This is about what you can see and describe in plain terms. For example, I don't have a car. My business is not getting enough customers. The second layer is the internal problem. And this is the one that actually drives the purchasing decision. It's how that external problem makes your customer feel frustrated, stuck, embarrassed, suffocated, anxious. The list goes on and on. The internal problem is what your product actually solves. If you don't speak to how they're feeling, to how this is affecting them internally, if you don't make this emotional connection with them, they're not going to feel understood. And the third layer is the philosophical problem. That's the why behind your message. It answers the question, why is it just plain wrong for them to be struggling with this? So if you go back to the car problem, the external problem is them not having a car. The internal problem is feeling stuck or dependent. And the philosophical problem is that it's just wrong for people to have to depend on others if they want to move around. Your job is to name the pain, because once your customer hears you describing how they're feeling better than they can, they'll automatically trust that you can solve it for them. Afterwards comes the guide. This is where you step in. Instinctively, we talk about our years of experience, our achievements, what we've done in our lives. This is just to try to establish this sense of authority and knowledge and expertise. But it can make you sound self-absorbed. Your customer doesn't want another hero. They want someone who gets it and can help them win. So the two traits of a good guide are empathy and authority. Empathy is when your customer feels seen. It's literally when you empathize with them. It's like telling them, I see you, I understand, and we're gonna get through this. The whole point of this is for you to build an initial connection with them that will eventually turn into trust. And authority is proof that you've done this before, you know what you're talking about, and you can take them from point A to point B. Think case studies, testimonials, numbers, charts, just something that shows that you've done this before and you've done it successfully. Now that you've shown up, it's time to give your hero a plan. There are two kinds of plans that you need to have ready. First is the process plan. This is the how. What steps does your customer need to do to buy, use, or get results from what you offer? Spell it out. For example, step 1, book a call. Step 2, get a tailored strategy. Step 3, implement with support. If you're selling a product, it's the same logic. Step 1, choose your product. Step 2, add to cart. Step 3, get free shipping. Step 4, use on the same day. Directions reduce friction in your customer's journey. I know that these steps might sound extremely obvious, but trust. Afterwards, you need an agreement plan. If someone's buying something from you, especially if it's a high ticket offer, they're gonna need this additional reassurance that they're gonna get what they're paying for. Because people buy with emotion and justify with logic. An agreement plan can be a clear refund policy, a warranty or commitment, or a personal promise like we'll keep working with you until you get the results. You're showing them that you stand behind what you sell. Once you give them their plan, it's time to scream action. It's what sets the plan in motion. There are two types of calls to action. The first one is a direct call to action. It's the one that leads straight to a sale. Could be buy now, apply now, sign up, subscribe, whatever it is. Not everyone is ready to buy on the spot. Some of them still have doubts. Maybe they need to wait a little bit longer, make sure that you're the right person. You don't want to lose them. So this is where a transitional call to action comes in. It could be downloading a free guide or template. It could be joining your newsletter. It could be watching a free workshop. Just something that gives them value and keeps you top of mind. And finally, every single story ends in one of two ways. Either the hero succeeds or the hero fails. And in business, your customer either gets the results that they wanted or they stay exactly where they are now. Your job is to paint both situations perfectly. First, you show them what success looks like. This is where you paint their happily ever after. They finally feel in control again, they finally gain the freedom that they've been looking for, they're feeling confident in themselves. And then you show them the opposite. What happens if they do nothing? This is what keeps people from staying a bit too comfortable because inaction is a decision. It can be something like they'll keep creating content that no one looks at, they keep relying on others, and they keep doubting themselves over and over again. The contrast between their dream outcome and their current reality is what actually pushes people to make a decision. By the end of the step, your audience should feel the cost of staying stuck and the reward of moving forward. You're connecting emotion with logic, which makes buying the natural next step and not like a forced sale. So let's bring it back full circle. At the start of this video, you were probably thinking, I have the offer, I have the skills, I know I have something to give, so why is no one listening to me? Well, now you know why. You were talking at people instead of to them. Once you understand who your customer is, what they want, what story they're living, everything shifts. Your words start landing, your marketing becomes so much easier, and your message finally sticks. And if you want to start building your own story framework, I've made a very simple free template that I'm gonna link in the description below. feel free to grab it. If not, you can just follow everything that was said here and then just implement it. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out the other videos in the series where I talk about different aspects of your business and how to optimize them.